At this hour, 8 o'clock in the morning on a Monday in Florida, election ballots being recounted via machine amid accusations of voter fraud. And our next guest is pointing fingers at the Democrats, claiming their dishonesty while trying to steal elections, quote, threatens the very fabric of our country.
That was the title of his op-ed. Former House Speaker and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich joins us now with more. Good morning to you, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning.
So why do you think that?
I mean, Broward County... Look, Broward County is a case study. I was with Karl Rove over the weekend. Karl, of course, working for President George W. Bush, was right in the middle of the hanging Chad Broward County effort to steal Florida in the presidential race in 2000, which ultimately went to the Supreme Court. He pointed out that the lawyer who'd been involved in stealing Norm Coleman's seat in Minnesota for Al Franken is the same lawyer who's now come into Florida using the same techniques. Two examples. They argued, this is on the record, they argued that non-citizens' votes should count, which is clearly illegal. They also have in Broward County, the registrar happened to not realize that she had brought together a group of already discounted bad ballots and put them in with a group of good ballots, and she really didn't want to cheat the good ballots, so she's going to count all the ballots. Now, at what point do you start saying to yourself, this is the second time she's done this? I think Governor Scott listed 12 different examples where she has broken Florida law. And notice about the so-called recount. She did not allow anyone in to watch what they were doing. They did everything in secret. So we have no idea to what extent they were either manufacturing ballots, artificially destroying Republican ballots. All this was done in secret in total violation of Florida law. So this is not a question we need better laws. This is a question where you have to look at people who are breaking the law.
How can you do that and get away with it? Why aren't you held accountable if this is true?
Look, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand how the very same person in 2000 and now in 2018 can be in the middle of massive violations and not have some attorney step in and file a suit. But here's the game they're playing in Florida linguistically. They're saying, you know, we don't actually have proof of fraud because she won't let anybody in to look at the ballots, right. So we can't prove that she actually stole them. I mean, if you went to a bank and it had $500,000 missing, your first thought wouldn't be, gee, I'll bet they're really bad at math.
Yeah.
I mean, your first thought would be, is somebody stealing it?
Well, Mr. Speaker, why do Democrats keep saying it's a great slogan, count all the votes, but shouldn't it be count all the legitimate votes?
Well, because if you only count all the legitimate votes, they lose. Somewhere between manufacturing ballots, I mean, you know, in a number of these cases, you suddenly have an entire box of votes. I think this time it showed up in a school pantry or something, and they went, oh, my goodness, look here, there's a whole box of ballots. I wonder how they got here. I don't know, but we don't want to deny them the right to vote. We once had a famous case in Georgia in 1948 where the candidate for governor had died, and his son was a write-in candidate. And in his home county, more people voted than lived in the county. And the Atlanta Journal won a Pulitzer Prize. They went down and interviewed people and said, well, you know, we knew that Sally had moved to Macon 40 years ago, but we knew how Sally would have voted. And we didn't want to trouble her to have to drive all the way home. So we just voted for her. Wow. I mean, that's the kind of attitude. It's a long tradition of the Democratic Party, which stole both Illinois and Texas in 1960. And if they can get away with it, they will. It's about power. It's not about the system.
The eyes of the world are on Florida. Let's see what happens. The machine recount will be concluded by 3 o'clock on Thursday. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, when the new Congress convenes, we don't know who's going to be Speaker then. Some are suggesting it's probably going to be Nancy Pelosi. But we do know one thing for sure. There are going to be a lot of investigations. We've heard Democrats in the past talk about, you know, impeachment possibilities. But they're going to look at everything regarding this president and his administration to see if they did anything wrong. That shouldn't surprise you, should it?
No, and I think the Democrats run a real risk, as Senator McConnell has pointed out. I mean, if the #1 characteristic of the Democratic Party becomes destroy Trump, I suspect the average American will think that's pretty stupid, because they would actually like the Congress and the president to work on health care, to work on the economy, to work on a whole range of issues other than just getting involved in this kind of negativity. And I can say in 1997-98, we got sucked into going after Bill Clinton in a way which was our fault. That I think ultimately was not to the advantage of the Republican Party, because people just said they're tired of it. There's no possibility that the U.S. Senate is going to convict the president. So any effort at impeachment is an act of pure political partisanship that is negative for the country and has no positive possible outcome.
All right. That'll have to be the final word. Mr. Speaker, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.